Hi, my name is Lori Alexander from the Transform Wife, and I just want to discuss a question that's frequently asked me whenever I teach about women being keepers at home. And the question is about what about widows and single mothers? And there's two questions I would like you to ponder. Do you not believe that those children of widows and single mothers need their mothers home full time just as much as married women who have husbands who are their providers? And the second question is, are we as believers supposed to live our lives um, at thinking about the worst case scenario? Is that what God calls us to do? Or are we called to live our lives obeying Him and trusting Him? There's a good song, Trust and Obey. There's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. And I believe absolutely children who have widows, have mothers who are widows or single mothers, need their mothers home full time with them just as much as married women do. And I believe that we're not to live our lives always considering the worst case scenario, but trusting in the Lord as our provider and our protector. So going back to young women and if they should pursue college education and careers, just in case, no, you should not pursue a college and a career for the just in case, the worst case scenario. If your goal is to be a wife and mother, why rack up all of that debt, which is definitely spoken of negatively in the Word of God, and go to a college which the majority of them are completely opposed to God and His ways, and just for a career, just in case. My dad never wanted my mom to work at all, so she never went to college, never had a career, and was home full time with us. But he changed when we became older, and he wanted us to have a career and a higher education, so all three of us did. But we all ended up being full time single mommies, and college wasn't expensive back then for us to go to. But let's just say something did happen to Ken. There's no way I could have worked because I was so sick. So my preparation for the what if never panned out. I would have had to trust in the Lord to provide for me with my children, because there's no way I could have worked with how ill I was. So even if you prepare for the what if, it might not pan out the way that you plan. It's a much better way for us to live in obedience to the Lord, and then trusting Him for our protection and our provision, doing what He's called us to do. Now, if you want to be a nurse or a teacher and you're not married and you can get through college inexpensively without a lot of debt, go for it. There's nothing inherently wrong with that at all. But just make sure that you can do that without a load of debt, and you stay walking faithfully with the Lord, because I know the Christian colleges are very, very expensive. So now what about the women who are widows or single mothers, and they do want to come home with their children? Biblically speaking, Paul says that the younger women, the instructions to them are to marry, bear children, and guide the home. So ask the Lord for Him to send a godly man into your life. Get involved in a good church, and just be cheerful, warm, and friendly, because that's what draws men to women. And then for the older women, the relatives are supposed to provide for the older widows, and if they cannot, then the church is supposed to provide for them. And most churches don't, unfortunately, today. I know John MacArthur's church does provide for them. But this is God's plan for widows, not for them to go and find jobs and leave their children, but for them to remarry, for the younger one, and to be provided for by others. So, and I know that's not always possible today, but then you seek the Lord and ask the Lord to find a way for you to make money from home. Connie Holquist is a perfect example of a woman who did this. 6 children, her husband was in and out of prison, but the Lord provided for her to be able to stay home with her children. And He can for you too. You just need to seek Him, seek His will, and ask Him to provide a way for you to be able to be home with your children. Because with the Lord, all things are possible. Anyway, this is